Hi, welcome back to my channel, or indeed if you are new here, then welcome. Today I have a short practice for you to hopefully balance your mind and your body. So please stick around to the end of the video where I will be sharing with you a short meditation. The physical practice today is going to be mainly standing, which will help with our bone strength, our bone density. I read something recently that said yoga builds strength by stealth, and I think that is a really good description about a yoga practice. You don't actually realize how strong and how flexible you are getting because you are doing these movements quite slowly, and it just builds up over time, and then before you know it, you are feeling in a much more empowered position. So when you're ready, find some space, doesn't have to be too much space, roll out your mat and we will get started. We are going to start seated today, so any comfortable seated position, either resting your hands on your knees or in your lap. Close your eyes if it feels comfortable to do so, or just focus your gaze on a point in front of you. And we're going to begin our practice today just by bringing our awareness and our attention onto our breath. So as we breathe in, try and keep those shoulders soft and be aware of the belly expanding as we draw that breath in. Doesn't have to be too deep, don't struggle to really pull the breath in. And then as we exhale, again, breathing through the nose, just feeling the belly deflate, the belly button return back towards the spine. Just taking a few of these grounding, settling breaths. Using this time to not only bring the awareness to your breathing, but also to your physical body. Notice how you are feeling. And if there's any parts within your body, from the crown of your head to the tips of your toes, where you're feeling a little bit tight and strained, just see if you can allow that exhale breath to softly flow through the body, relaxing, maybe smoothing out that line between your eyes. That's where it is for me. I just find myself frowning constantly, clenching my jaw. So if all you do in your yoga practice today is you sit and you breathe, then that is enough. We don't actually have to bring any physical movement in. Finding some peace and some stillness in our mind is just as, if not even more important than moving our body sometimes. So just staying here for a few more breaths. And as we do bring movement into our practice today, whatever time of day it is for you, please be really aware of how you're feeling. Don't push yourself, just as we don't draw our breath too far in or too far out, then we don't want to push our bodies too far either. Just listen to where you are today, and it might be completely different from where you are tomorrow or where you were yesterday. Staying in the present as much as possible, just tuning into your breath, finding some softness through the face, keeping those shoulders relaxed. You can keep your eyes closed, or you can begin to open your eyes now as we draw our arms up over the head, give ourselves a nice big stretch. Maybe interlace the fingers and turn those palms up towards the ceiling, keeping the shoulders soft but finding length through the arms, length through the torso as we root the sit bones down. And then as we exhale, let's drop that right hand down towards the floor. Stay on the fingertips if you wish. Reaching the left arm up, and then a gentle stretch over towards the right hand side, keeping both sit bones on the floor, so we're not coming too far. Again, there's no forcing of movement here. Try and stay with your breath if you can, so we're not holding the breath, just allowing it to flow. And as we breathe in, we reach that right arm up, and we drop the left hand down towards the earth, softening through that left shoulder, keeping the right shoulder back, and just a gentle stretch over towards the left-hand side. Nothing too excessive here. Reaching that left arm back up towards the ceiling as we touch the palms and draw our hands down towards the heart. Making our way over onto all fours. So just mobilizing our spine through our cat-cow, drawing that belly in, stacking our wrists underneath our shoulders, our knees under the hips. And as we inhale, we lift the tailbone. So if we start the movement from the base of the spine, draw the shoulders back and down, shining our heart forward. And then as we exhale, again, starting from that tailbone, tucking it under, rounding through the back as we tuck chin to chest. Making a few of these gentle movements. Just noticing how that spine feels today. Moving with the breath, so let your breath guide the movement. Don't get too carried away. And then gently pushing back towards the heels as we walk the hands out in front, coming into a child's pose stretch here. Keeping this active, so we're reaching those fingers in front of us. And then very slowly making our way back onto all fours. Tucking our toes underneath us as we come into a downward facing dog. If we can, let's try and keep the hands where they are and just move the feet to a position that feels good for you as we bend one knee and lower the opposite heel towards the earth. Now, I have to confess that my back is feeling a little bit tight, a little bit twingy. So I am not moving in a way that I am used to moving. And if you are feeling the same, then that is completely okay. Make these shapes your own. They don't have to be textbook. From our downward facing dog, all we are going to do, I'm going to give you two options here. You can either walk your feet up towards your hands, or you might find it easier to walk your hands towards your feet. And wherever you are, take the feet a little bit wider and just allow your body to hang down in a rag doll, swaying from side to side, letting that head feel heavy. And then very slowly, in your own way, in your own time, bring yourself up to standing, rolling your shoulders back and down. Gosh, I don't think that was terribly elegant the way I did that, but like I say, it really doesn't matter what shapes you're making. Just try and let your breath flow and try and enjoy this short practice today. So if you're at the front or if you're at the back, we're going to work our way into the middle of the mat here. Just finding our mountain pose, turning our palms forward, rolling the shoulders back and down, lifting the toes, giving them a little bit of a wiggle, maybe rising up onto the balls of the feet, stretching down through the soles here. Just close your eyes again for a second, just so that you can feel the weight of your body. Maybe shift it forwards, roll it backwards, take it to the left, take it to the right. Finding your balance, finding your center of gravity. Opening your eyes. So the weight in your feet is mainly in the heels. It's about 50% in the heels. And then maybe 30% towards your big toe. So what have we got there? That's 80%. And then 20% out towards the small toes at the outer edge of the foot. So let's take a nice big breath in here. And as we exhale, we are going to step our feet wide. Coming into our warrior two position from here. We're going to keep our right foot where it is and turn our left foot to face the top of the mat. Reaching our arms up to shoulder height here. Have a little look over that right shoulder, see where the arm is. And then begin to bring a bend into our left knee. We can shift the feet around a little bit if we need to find our stability. We are going to hold these postures for about 5 breaths. This gives us the chance to relax into the pose, make any adjustments that we need to, maybe increase the bend, maybe decrease the bend, maybe widen the feet or shorten the distance, reaching our fingertips forwards and backwards while keeping our shoulders soft, and all the while listening to our breath. We're not gripping with the toes, so again we're finding the weight underneath the feet, nice and even. Let's see if we can just stay here for one more breath. From our warrior two, we're going to shift our weight through into triangle. So maybe walking that back foot in a smidge, straighten through that left leg, keeping our arms where they are. If they're feeling a little bit tired, we can just drop them down. And then as we breathe in, we extend and lengthen forward. And as we exhale, we rotate our arms over into our triangle pose, extending that right arm towards the ceiling. Don't worry how far down the leg this left arm comes. Pulling in our belly here, so keeping control through our core, and pushing into that back foot as well as bringing the weight forward into the front. Again, see if we can just hold it for a few breaths. So this top shoulder, we don't want it to sneak forward. Roll it back if we can. Maybe even dropping that top arm behind you to encourage that openness through the front of the body. Pushing into our left foot as we bend that knee, keep a bend in that knee as we bring ourselves back up. Extending our left arm in front of us now. We can keep this right hand behind the back, or we can release that as we come into a posture called extended side angle, resting our left forearm on our thigh and reaching that right arm overhead. Again, you might find it more comfortable to keep the hand behind the back. Now, in this pose, we don't want to just throw all our weight onto this leg. We want to try and keep lifted through the torso and just have a lightness of that arm on the leg here. Again, let's see if we can stay here for about 3 more inhales and 3 more exhales, pushing into that back foot. As we come out, really brace through your core, push through your legs, windmill your arms up, straighten through that left leg and turn all our 10 toes to face that long edge of the mat. Let's turn towards the back of the mat now. So our right foot faces the back. We bring a bend into that knee. We dance the feet around if we need to find our warrior two. Little glance over that left shoulder to make sure that our arms are roughly the same height and really extending through the fingers. Might be beginning to feel it just a little bit now, rooting down through the feet, staying strong through our legs, braced through our core, and relaxed through our shoulders. Keeping the muscles of the face nice and soft as our breath flows easily here. Bringing some straightness into that right leg, maybe heel toeing the back foot in just a smidge. As we inhale, lengthen through the torso, and exhale, coming over into our triangle pose on the right hand side, extending that left arm up. If the neck's feeling a little bit tight, turn your gaze to the floor. And again, the option to always drop that top hand behind you to help open out the chest, finding a little bit of stretch here as well. See if we can just stay here for one more breath, doing really well. And we bend into that right knee, bringing our arms back to shoulder height, moving the feet a little bit if you want to, as we find that extended side angle on this side. Relaxing this right arm on the right thigh and drawing that left arm overhead. Again, we can take the hand behind if that feels a little bit easier. Can we stay here for a couple more breaths? If you feel you're beginning to sink down into this pose, really push through the feet, rooting down, staying strong through those legs. And as we inhale, we windmill the arms back. We straighten through that right foot. We turn all 10 toes to face the front of our mat and just drop our hands onto our waist, heel toeing our feet back into center, or a little jump into center if you have the energy to do so. We're going to add a little bit on to that sequence now. So this time we're going to start at the top of our mat, keeping our feet underneath our hips, and then reaching our arms all the way up towards the ceiling. Again, keeping the shoulders dropped, core engaged. Let's rise up onto the toes. And then as we exhale, draw the palms together, drop the heels down towards the floor, and begin to lift your right knee, bringing that weight into your left foot and keeping your hips level if you can. Imagine you're standing on a box with that right foot. And then from here, we're just going to float our right foot behind us, landing elegantly on the ball of that foot as we come into a high lunge position here, keeping our hands at the chest, or if you want to, you can lift the arms up towards the ceiling. From here, we're just going to turn into our warrior two pose, facing towards the top of our mat. A little check over that right shoulder to see what the arm is doing there, keeping our arms at the same height, rooting down through the feet, encouraging a bend into the knee as the knee stays out towards the small toe. Just staying here for 3, 2, and 1. Straightening into that left knee, maybe drawing your back foot in a little as we inhale and lengthen, and exhale, taking it over into our triangle pose again. Drawing that belly in, staying in this position with the arms if we want to, or dropping that top arm behind our back as we stay here for 3, and 2, and on 1, we push through the foot, keeping that bend in the knee as we return into our warrior two arm and leg posture, and move over into our extended side angle, keeping length through the side of the ribs here, trying not to collapse the body onto that left knee, reaching the fingers away from us and rooting down into our right foot as well. There's a lot going on in this posture. Keeping that knee towards the small toes and try not to grip those toes as well as we just stay here for a couple more breaths. Pushing through those feet, windmilling the arms all the way back and over. Straighten the front leg, turn the toes to face that long edge of the mat. Let's drop our hands onto our waist. Heel toe our feet back to center or jump. And then we're going to turn to face the back of our mat, where we take our feet hip distance, bringing the weight into our right foot, and we lift that left knee. Take our hands to the heart, finding that balance, standing on our imaginary table here. And then with grace, on a single exhale, we drop that left foot behind us, staying on the toes or the ball of that foot, and inhaling our arms up, or we can keep them at the heart if we want to. Roll the shoulders back and down, finding strength through the core. And then as we exhale, we open out into our warrior two, shifting those feet around to find your strong foundations in your warrior two, holding it here for those lovely 5 long, deep breaths. So hopefully, while we are thinking about our breathing and we are adjusting our body accordingly in each posture, it helps us control our thoughts a little bit as well. We haven't got room in our mind for all these thoughts to come bombarding us because we're just focused on our breath, focused on each movement, finding some peace and some stillness both in our body and in our mind. Bringing some length into that right leg now, maybe heel toeing the back foot in as we inhale, and as we exhale, finding our triangle pose on this side, extending up with that left arm or even dropping it behind the back. Pushing into those feet, strong through our foundations, lifted through the rest of the body. Bending into our right knee now, returning our arms up to shoulder height. And then moving ourselves over into that extended side angle, drawing that left shoulder back, lightly resting the hand on the knee, not throwing ourselves down, maybe even taking that top arm behind the back. Staying lifted, staying strong. Just a couple more breaths here. And then pushing through both feet to return back to the center of the mat, dropping the hands onto the hips or the waist, heels towing the feet back into center. And then when you're ready, we are going to come and sit down on our mats. Grab a cushion or a blanket if you want to, just for a little 5-minute meditation at the end of our class today. So coming into a seated position, or even lie down on your mat if you want to, if you find that more comfortable. You need to find a position where you can either sit or lie in stillness, and that will translate to finding a little bit of peace and stillness in your mind. If your body is agitated, then your mind will dart from pillar to post. And the reverse is also true. If you have a lot of things going on in your mind, you might find your body is feeling quite agitated. So closing your eyes if you feel comfortable to do so. Otherwise, again, just focusing your gaze on a point in front of you and just returning to your breath. Finding a lovely deep inhale through the nose, keeping the body nice and soft as you breathe in. And an equally long exhale without forcing, just letting your breath flow in as natural a way as you can manage at the end of our class today. Sometimes it's useful to bring a count onto the breath, and this helps get rid of any intrusive thoughts that might be charging around the mind. So if you breathe in for a count of 3 or 4, maybe even 5, and then exhale for the same amount, just the act of counting the breath itself can act like a meditation. So as you begin to relax a little bit further, I would like to share with you something that I read to my class at times as well. It's from a book called The Little Book of Mindfulness, and it's called Riding Out Your Emotions, Worry Surfing. Imagine for a moment an ocean wave as it approaches the shore. It's steep and tall and hasn't crested yet into a breaker. Now imagine the wave nearing a group of gulls floating on the water, and the birds don't fly away. They simply ride up the facing slope. They round the top, and they drift down the long back of the wave. And this is something that we can learn to do with our worries, our anxieties, and our fears. All emotions are wave-like and time-limited. They ebb and they flow. Life is like a wave. Emotions build up, eventually reach a peak, and drift away. Worries, anxieties, and fears, they come and go in a similar way. They don't last forever, even if it sometimes feels that they will. So just going back to the middle of the text, all emotions are wave-like and time-limited. We can act like the birds, riding up the facing slope of a worry, rounding the top and drifting down the long back of the wave. So as you sit or you lie, wherever you are, in your relaxation, at the end of this short practice, as you breathe in, just feel yourself riding up the front of that wave. Have a pause at the top as you round the top, and as you exhale, flowing down the back of the wave. And just taking a few more breaths like this before you bring yourself back to consciousness. You breathe in, facing the wave, riding the wave. A little pause at the top as you round the crest, and you exhale and you travel down the back. It's a very relaxing thought. And at any time during your day, if you've got a few minutes to spare, just find a seat, find a comfortable place, close your eyes and visualize either yourself or even those gulls riding up the wave, cresting the top and flowing down the opposite side. I really hope you enjoyed today's practice. And if you haven't yet subscribed, I would love you to subscribe to my channel. Drop me a like and even a comment would be really lovely to hear from you. So thank you once more for joining me on the mat, and I look forward to another practice with you all again very soon. Thank you.